the two-time winner of the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Award, and the two-time winner of the Pennsylvania Associated Press Broadcasters Association Award, promoting and advancing the craft and microbrew culture in Northeast Pennsylvania. Yes, it is another edition of the Friday Beer Buzz! And a new precedent here in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle has been spoiling for I don't know how long to try to get himself here into Studio E instead of being in the control room next door. And finally, I don't know whose palm he greased, but here he sits in the studio with us this morning on the WILK Friday Beer Buzz.
Oh, I gotta tell you, it's like hanging out with like my big brothers or something like that. You guys, yeah.
Just follow us and don't say too much. And if we meet any girls, we'll do the talking.
Yeah. You got it.
All right.
The Friday Beer Buzz is powered by Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop in Exeter, one of the area's greatest selections of rare craft and imported beers, growlers and crowlers, a hand pump.
Oh, my.
And 35 rotating drafts at Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bar and Bottle Shop, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter.
See, it still works. That's a thing of beauty right there. Lindo's here. Lindo Sabatini. Yay.
Good morning.
Lindo, good morning to you. Bill from mybeerbuzz.com.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Isn't it nice to have Kyle in this?
It is. I thought the plan was to pretend he wasn't here so Nancy wouldn't know that. So he's already talked now. We kind of blew the plan.
Just don't tell her we have the funnel here.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
We have a guest joining us.
Okay. Yes, we do.
From Mills River, North Carolina,
Yes.
and Chico, California. From Sierra Nevada, we have Brian Grossman. Welcome back, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How you doing?
Well, I can't complain. It's sort of hard to be in both Chico, California, and Mills River. So I'm in North Carolina right now.
This is the bi-coastal beer buzz. That's what we got going here.
So, Brian, Sierra Nevada started in 1979, and I'm thinking you were probably not alive in 1979. But
I was -6.
You're -6. So, what was it like growing up with Ken Grossman as your dad? At what point did you realize who your dad was?
Well, I mean, I would imagine that I know he was my dad sort of right off the bat.
Because he was around the house so much.
Yeah, he was there a lot.
Yeah, and people have asked me that question a lot, and I don't really have a frame of reference of not having Ken Grossman as my father. So, I would imagine my childhood was pretty regular, like everyone else's, where my dad went to work and came home late at night, and I think the only difference is that he just went to a brewery versus whatever your other profession is. And he worked a lot, that's for sure. So my mom would take us to the brewery, so we got to see him, and he's always very good about putting down his work and playing with us. And one of my fondest memories is my slide was the packaging line, and at the brewery, he put me a case box of beer and pushed me down the conveyors, and, playing hide and seek in the malt sacks and things like that. But,
did anything change when you turned 21?
Absolutely. My 21st birthday was actually the first day of police academy for me. So that's probably not the response that you were thinking of, but yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, obviously, being a member of the family, as close as you are to it, it's not something that you notice as out of the ordinary, as it is for people like us who think, well, your dad being a beer superstar, certainly it's impressive to everybody except family members, because it's routine for you guys, so it's easy to understand.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the side of things that the outside public didn't see. When my father was buying out his partner, it was pretty trying time.
Yeah,
it was,
sure.
A lot of stress in the family. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, he has worked more in his lifetime than most people can fathom.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a lot of investment on his part and the family's part, for that matter, to sort of get us to where we're at. So it's not all rainbows and sunshine, from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Is that what you're saying? Oh, no.
Yeah, but your dad paved the way. I mean, your dad really did create the trail and pave the way for a lot of breweries that followed along. Give us an update on the North Carolina facility on Mills River.
Yeah, so we, a number of years ago, we got to the point where we had to make a decision, which was, we either keep the brewery where it's at in its sort of development, which, in a business sense doesn't make a lot of sense. You sort of either need to evolve or sort of dissolve. So we had to make the decision that we either expanded in Chico or expanded in North Carolina. And, shipping beer is heavy, glass is heavy, and, there's quite a bit of environmental cost that goes into shipping beer from California to all 50 states. So we made the decision to build a production brewery out here in North Carolina. And fast forward to today, we're brewing about a 650 to 700,000 barrel pace a year clip. We're actually just putting our CO2 recovery plant right now and our new Eau Cerveza cellar to make our Eau Cerveza, which is our new Goza style beer that just won a gold medal for Session Beer at World Beer Cup a couple weeks ago. So we're pretty proud of that beer. So we're in full swing. We've got a very large-scale restaurant that when we're slamming and busy can do about 3,000 plates a day.
Wow.
So a big beer garden that people like hanging out and playing bocce ball and throwing cornhole and walking around the gardens and just having a good old time.
Brian, will there be North Carolina only specialty beers? There may have been already. Will there be more North Carolina only beers?
Yeah, so we do actually have a 20-barrel brew house in our tap room. So this is a real functioning brewery, and we've got 23 different draft faucets here on site. So there's plenty of beers that we'll make a 20-barrel batch of per se and just sort of run it through our tap room. So there's plenty of beers that you can only get at our Chico brewery or our North Carolina brewery or our tasting room in Berkeley, California, the Torpedo Room. So there's definitely some on-site only beers that you have to come to the brewery to get.
And that's why we have to organize a bus trip.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. The last bus trip I was on damn near killed me. We did beer camp across America where we took a tour bus literally cross country. So do that with caution.
Yeah, boy, how about it?
Well, we're going to feature some beer camp beers today, and consider this our second pitch to invite us to beer camp. But tell us about beer camp itself, Brian.
Yeah, so Beer Camp was a program that we still do today where we bring people into the brewery and sort of teach them about how we make our beers and why we are unique. And then we sort of evolved the idea when we said, okay, we're going to open up our North Carolina brewery. Let's do beer camp across America. So instead of bringing industry folks in or people like yourselves in, we said let's bring other brewers in and sort of make this we did it, and we being the craft beer industry, we did it, and we became known to everybody. The beer drinker today can tell you what an IBU is, can talk to you about hops. When my father started out, no one knew really anything about making beer or the ingredients that went into it. So when we opened up our North Carolina brewery, it was sort of a celebration for all craft beer brewers that were out there. So we wanted to make it bigger than just us. And we actually invited every brewer in the nation to partake in one of our festivals. We did on this bus trip across America. And we had a blast. We had 12 different beers, and it was super fun. Fast forward to this year's beer camp. How do you top that? And we said, so we actually took a page from the music industry, and we created super groups, just like you would have a band made up of unique guitarists from group one and a unique drummer from group two. So we picked 30 brewers, or 31, including us, and we came up with a 12-pack again, this time featuring 6 beers. We got a lot of feedback from the drinkers last year, or I should say 2 years ago, that they wanted 2 of the beers because, it's hard to split a 12-ounce bottle, and these packs are definitely a lot about tasting and celebration of craft. So we did 6 beers, like I said, with 6 brewers, us being the 6th on every one of the beers, and so 30 brewers total, and came up with this really great pack. Sort of represents tons of beer styles and the regions that they come from, and sort of the inspirations that these brewers had. So, a wonderful pack of beer doing the festivals again. Still invited every craft brewer in the U.S. to partake in this. So come join us at one of our festivals. It should be a blast.
So our first one, Brian, is I'll admit, just a few minutes ago, I got the name. We picked this one because we're in Pennsylvania. This one represents Pennsylvania. I was going to call it Pat Rye OT, but it's Patriot, and it's sort of a play on old meets new pale ale. Tell us about that beer.
Yeah, so the Patriot Ale is a pretty fun one. It was Sam Calgione, one of our good buddies and brewer owner of Dogfish Head. We picked him, and he picked the group to go, and they wanted to do basically sort of an homage to the original colonies. I know that a lot of the colonies are not represented in that group, North, South Carolina, and Georgia, but sort of a throwback to what our founding fathers sort of would have been drinking and brewing. And there was a lot of apples done at the time, and per se a lot of ciders because of that. So it was a little bit of a patriotic beer is what they wanted to do. So apple cider from Vermont, Delaware went in it. Rye is a really great ingredient. Most people get confused with rye and the taste of rye bread. Rye and beer is this very nice sort of peppercorny, white peppercorn is how I get it. Really nice sharpness in the beer. Bunch of different hops, and the way that the yeast interacts with the apple cider gives it a very unique nose, is what you're probably smelling in it. None of the guys really wanted to go way over the top with huge alcohol, so this is sitting right about 5.5, 5.6, if memory serves me correct. It's a beautiful beer, but yeah, it's the apples that are giving it that big old twist in there. A lot of people are wondering what's on the nose.
I wouldn't have nailed apples. I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But now that you say it, it's obvious to me. It's a really good beer.
Yeah, and a really, really pretty color in this beer. It's a lot lighter than I expected it to pour. Really, really pretty. Before we are getting tight on time, tell us about Sweet Sunny so we can feature that beer as well.
The Sweet Sunny South is a representation of what's called a table beer, just like a table wine. So a very nice low alcohol, 4.9 ABV beer. And here in the South, we love our sweet tea, that's for sure. So we actually put a lot of black tea in it, some honeysuckle, peach, papaya, guava, and prickly pear from a cactus. And let me tell you, brewing it was a pain. Over 30,000 pounds of fruit went into our fermenters.
Wow.
Normally when you remove the yeast out of the bottom, this was like removing jelly out of the bottom of it. We gummed up pumps. It was sort of a real pain to make. But that's sort of the fun part about this. We don't really put any restrictions on our brewing partners. So they test our brewing knowledge and our brewing facility every once in a while, that's for sure. And this is one of the beers, but really nice saison yeast on it. And a lot of people think if you just put a lemon wedge in the thing, not that I'm advocating that. It's just like drinking a fruity sweet tea. So
it's nice,
pretty fun beer as well.
4.9% ABV. And if you want to try any of these, our sponsor, Sabatini's Beer and Bottle Shop,
Linda, what you have a thing going?
Having an event.
Yeah, this coming Sunday, we're going to be tapping at 3 o'clock all 6 of these beers.
Wow!
Since there's 6 in the pack, we're going to be featuring them all at the new bottle shop and bar. They'll all be on draft.
That's outstanding.
So you can get the bottles or get them all on draft, which I think is a great event.
Yeah, we also do have the packs. If anybody's interested in grabbing a Beer Camp Variety 12-pack, they are available now, and they'll be available on Sunday.
And Brian, you'd be happy to know, I'm sure, that our producer Kyle, who has never actually joined us here in the studio because he's always in the studio next door in the control room pushing the buttons, joined us for this morning's Beer Buzz, and he's sampling the beers as well. Kyle, what'd you think?
I'm loving this.
There you see. He's loving it. He feels like he's hanging around with the big guys here.
I know we're tight on time, but I had a question. This Pat Rye that's just on my cup, Rye. Patriot.
Yeah.
I can't even read. Is there like a grape in there anywhere in the process? Because I taste almost like a before they're ripe grape. Does that make sense to you at all?
No, it does make sense to me, but that one doesn't have any grapes in it. It's actually just two-row. It's a pretty simple beer. Two-row pale, rye, and crystal in the malt side of things. You might be getting the juiciness from the hops. They're all just experimental hops, so they're just letters and numbers, not like a cascade per se. So modern-day hops today can give you a lot of really great juicy characteristics, a lot of melony notes, and you might be getting some of those fruity characteristics coming across. There's one, 366 is one of the hops that has this really nice big blueberry note to it. So you'd be surprised what brewers can do with modern-day hops to represent these flavors.
We're enjoying Patriot Revolutionary Pale Ale and, of course, the Sweet Sunny South Table Beer. Brian Grossman from Sierra Nevada has been our guest this morning. Brian, we got to run, but it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
No, thank you guys so much. Enjoy.
Outstanding beers. Thanks for being here.
All right.
The Friday Beer Buzz is powered by Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar in Exeter, one of the area's greatest selections of rare craft and imported beers, growlers and crowlers, a hand pump, and 35 rotating drafts at Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bar and Bottle Shop, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter.
Kyle, you did an outstanding job today. Congratulations.
Good job, Kyle. Good job.
Friday Beer Buzz, bringing good beers and good people together.